Hello students, this is actually a continuation of the previous video. We are going to continue the lesson, that is Virginia Woolf's Russian point of view. We stopped while discussing Dostoevsky in the previous video, so I am going to continue with the same. So Dostoevsky, soul is important. But to the English writer or the reader, soul is alien, and it is, even as we discussed in the previous class, is antipathetic. And it has, to English writer, it has little sense of humor and no sense of comedy, because it is, the reason is it is formless. And to the English mind, Dostoevsky at first appears strange and bewildering. And even his technique is very reverse of the technique of English novel. The English begin with the house, the surrounding, the names and titles. These things, if you see, are first solidified, and then the story begins with proper signboards in English works. And the limitations of time and space are kept in mind, and the influence of other books and points of view is felt. And society is presented as divided into different classes, each class having its own traditions, values, manners, etc. So these barriers or class divisions are recognized, and this recognition imposes form and order over the novelist material. And instead of compassion, there is satire, and instead of the understanding of the individual, there is a scrutiny of society in English works. But if you see in Dostoevsky, there are no such barriers, no such restraints, and it does not matter to what class or a strata of society the character belongs. Dostoevsky is not bothered of all these things. So there is this is so because every one of us, irrespective of the rank and the stature, it is the vehicle. The soul is the vehicle of the same fluid, yeasty stuff called the soul. So the soul knows no restraint. It constantly mingles with the souls of others. So Dostoevsky gives importance to soul. And next we are going to see the great next Russian writer, Tolstoy. And Tolstoy is a novelist with a difference. This Tolstoy, the greatest of all Russian novelists, is a bit different from Chekhov and Dostoevsky. It is, the English, they feel more at home with Tolstoy, because in him the movement is from outside to inside, and not from inside to outside as in the others. And the world of his novels is closely akin to the world of the traditional English novel. It is the external situation is first clearly solidified, even the time, the location, etc. will be precisely given. They will be solidified. Then he sees and records everything. This is how Tolstoy writes. The beauty of life, will be faithfully presented in his works. And he notices the blue or red of a child's frock. Even that is presented. Even the sound of a cough is clearly presented in his works. And what his infallible eye reports of a cough refers to something hidden in the character. So it's actually a clue provided to the reader to understand or to learn more about the character. So the cough, actually the cough of the character refers to something hidden in the character. So that we know that Tolstoy's people, not only by the way they love and by their views on politics and the immorality of the soul, but also by the way they sneeze and choke. So everything is astonishingly clear and absolutely sharp in Tolstoy's works. And the feeling of fear that is also clearly presented in his works. That is, then suddenly difficulties will arise. When the characters are happy, suddenly difficulties will arise, and always there is an element of fear which makes readers, we sometimes fear, we are afraid that such intense pleasure cannot last for long, and we feel that such intense pleasure is questionable. And this is the question which repeatedly strikes our mind. You understand, when we read Tolstoy, this is the question which repeatedly comes to our mind. And always in the midst of enjoyment, there is questioning about the meaning of life and about the aim and purpose of life. So Tolstoy has known life and he has known the pleasures of life. But when he begins to deride and question these pleasures, we feel that it is all dust and ashes in his mouth, as it must ultimately be, in the mouths of all of us. So this is how Tolstoy writes. This is his style. So I believe you'd have understand Russian point of view now. So she has, used 3 writers here: Dostoevsky, Tolstoy and Chekhov in this essay. Thank you.